Hey guys, Cheapara here with a first. We're going to be taking a look at the Darkwing Duck relaunch in comic book form from Dynamite Comics. And this is a very special character for me. It was a great cartoon back in the early 90s. It was part of Disney's, I believe it was Disney Afternoon, but they used to play these on Saturday mornings as well. They had Darkwing Duck, they had Tailspin, they had later on it was Gargoyles, and then prior to Darkwing Duck, which in some cases many thought was Darkwing Duck was a spin-off of, was DuckTales, and you had Gummy Bears. But again, to have Darkwing Duck back again, even in comic book form, is a lot of fun. So I got to thank Gemini Comics for delivering this in pristine condition. Did try to find this in stores when it was released on January 25th, 2023. However, it was sold out in all the comic book stores in the local area. So I'm going to take a quick look at the Dynamite Comics Darkwing Duck relaunch. They're also relaunching at the same time and in parallel the Gargoyles comics. And both of these have been identified as being within canon, within continuity of the original animated series. Now, I'm not going to show you every page because, of course, that would be improper. But I will say that there is a lot of history with the Darkwing Duck comics, and all of it in terms of the comics have been very good for consumers, but bad in terms of what's been happening behind the scenes. So I believe back in 2011 by Kaboom or Boom Comics, they did a relaunch of Darkwing Duck. A little bit more, while it was very fun, very enjoyable, sometimes it skewed a little bit more toward adults, and that was also a continuation of the Darkwing Duck cartoon. Now, as that comic series was kind of gearing down, the company was going under, and they lost their license to produce Disney comics. They were doing a DuckTales comic and a Darkwing Duck comic. So even after Disney removed or retrieved back their brand or their license from the comic manufacturer, from the company, from Kaboom, Kaboom still did one last crossover between the two, between DuckTales and Darkwing Duck. The first crossover we ever saw, and probably the only one. And so they did that comic book without the authority, without the authorization, without the licensing from Disney. Clearly, they got sued. So they have reprinted that. And since then, because of those comics going out of print and the lawsuit with Disney, it's very hard to find. It's very expensive, but I do own copies of those comic lines. Now, some of the creatives of that comic line, when they left the company, they started up Joe Comics. And then back in 2016, Darkwing Duck came back again in comic book form, continuing that same continuity absent the DuckTales Darkwing Duck crossover, which was not within continuity. But they started up this comic book that continued most of the storylines from the previous comic launch from Kaboom into this new comic book series from Joe Comics. That only lasted 8 issues before getting canceled as well. So this new comic series doesn't appear, at least for now, to acknowledge those previous comic book series. They were great, I will say, but there was some characters that, unfortunately, their lives were kind of hung in the balance, and there was some adult skewing undertones to the stories that were happening in those comics. This is the first time where Disney has out and out said this is going to be within continuity of those cartoons. This is a continuation. This seems to be a lot more family friendly than those other comic series. And at least for this first issue, this is more of a standalone storyline. Once again, bringing up Darkwing Duck, Launchpad McQuack, and Gosselin against some of his famous rogues gallery. But this is a standalone issue as a beginning and an end within this issue. It doesn't continue into another story arc like some of the previous comic launches, which would go on for almost a year with having the same storyline. This is just a standalone. So I will show you just the first and probably last page in terms of seeing the art. See, the Dark Flight returns. Art looks great, just a great looking comic, but I will say that the previous comic launches also had amazing art. I will show you kind of the last couple of pages as well, so we're not showing the entire comic book. As you can see here, they're also doing a reprint of the original comic line that was kind of an adaptation of the pilot episodes and that episode arc. You can see all the different kind of covers. There's so many in terms of the Darkwing Duck first issue, so many different artists doing the front cover. And of course, last but not least, Gargoyles is back. And again, they're saying that this is still within continuity of the original cartoon. But I won't show any more of the comic. I will say that it's definitely enjoyable for fans of the fans of the cartoon. It just brings you back to the original style tone of that cartoon. It's a standalone story. Kids will enjoy it as well. So highly recommend, guys, to go out, and if you can find the issue or if you can find online for a little bit of an upcharge. Otherwise, you can enjoy this through, if you could purchase it through Amazon or through a digital means, to just be able to enjoy this comic on your phone, on your tablet, and just be able to continue with Darkwing Duck in this comic book form, which is still enjoyable, still has much of the same fun of the original cartoon. So that does it for me, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.